Friends, look. What crayfish? You say you only catch them, but you don't release them. Look, these crayfish are tiny. I just want to show you that. 2 female are here. Oleska, record this. Moreover, the roe is already fertilized. Look. Look, with the roe. Females. The main thing is they're so tiny. There are males here too, of course, and females with eggs. Such beauty, look. Now we'll release them. So, you know, when small fish get in here from another body of water, we release them back here. Here's how we'll pour this out now. Just like that. There we go. That's it. Now they must do it themselves. Go into the water. Look, here's a crayfish. This crayfish literally weighs 25 grams. And it's already a female, see, with roe. They're gone, look, friends, they're gone. Just take this crayfish trap out here, so they don't get tangled up. That's it, you see. The crayfish band is on their way. There we go. There we go. There we go. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. Come on, let's see. Who's faster, friends? Who's faster? Listen, these, you know, these races. Races, yes. Let the female go to spare her suffering. We respect girls. Oh, right below this. Whoosh. Big guys, right? That's their size, friends. Basically, it's the most optimal for release. Look how they're going. They can sense the water. Look how they sense the water, right? Look. What beauties. Big guys can sense water. Bring them here. 1, 2. 1. This is the kind of pond, friends. For those who are watching me for the first time, we released crayfish here last year. We'll release more this year too. What you see now, well, that's just a couple of kilograms, but last year we released about 20 kilograms here. We released some this year and we'll release more. All right, let's do it. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Here we go, let go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go, let's help them a little. Here we go, here we go. Let's give them a hand, Oleska. Yeah. These crayfish. Right away, chop, chop. Boom, that's it, they're done. Look.
Is it?
It got stuck, look. Nobody for you. You go there. That's it, the water's freezing, listen. The water is very cold. But it's very suitable for them. There's enough oxygen here, enough air. You see the sand is mixed with clay. Look, there are ducks swimming over there. What a beauty, huh? A wild duck is swimming. Look, there she goes, there she goes, there she goes, there she goes. So I came out like this, friends. Here's the home. Just like that, I stepped out of the house and right away you can be here. To fish.
And to swim.
And to swim and to fish, here is currant. It grows here. 8 currant bushes or 10. Look, everything is already blooming. Yes, I'll give you a little tour, There's a gazebo, some trees and garden beds over there. Here, flowers are growing. They've already bloomed. I can't recall their name, maybe buttercups or yellow flowers. Anyway, it'll be beautiful here when everything blooms. It will be really beautiful here, look. What beauty. Everything is green, the grass is green, it's getting greener, it's getting warmer here, flowers are blooming, trees are blooming. In a couple of days, we'll set a couple of crayfish traps. We'll see what will be to their liking there. Well, now it's gotten cold again, it was so hot here, now it's gotten cold again, friends, so... Not biting well. It'll get warmer soon and then it'll start biting. I'll be filming material for you, so... subscribe for updates. A great day to you, friends. Overall, today's video that you're watching is about how to save, first of all, how to save your money and give you the most valuable advice. I emphasize free and valuable advice. The advice I will give you today, you can use them to save your time and money. First, as you've already seen in this video, and I keep emphasizing that, before you do anything, you need to do at least some analysis, meaning why you are going to do it. For example, I have a lot of people write to me, call me, I have like my own pond, I want to stock it, I want to raise crayfish as a business. When I ask a person what kind of body of water it is, what condition the water is in, what condition the bottom is in, and so on, the person doesn't know anything about it. So the first recommendation, you need to keep in mind whether there were crayfish there or if there are crayfish in this body of water. If there aren't any, then you need to take a sample. First, take a water sample and analyze it. If the oxygen and acidity levels in the water are normal, then basically, next we look at the soil. If there is a hard, solid surface there, let's put it that way. It's not just silt, clay, sand or shell rock can also appear. If it can dig burrows, that bottom is suitable. What kind of shore? That's very important. It's important to understand what kind of shore it is. It's preferable for the shore to be steep, because when the shore is steep, it's very comfortable for it to build its burrows there. Also, if there isn't a steep shore, it's not a big deal. It will build these burrows directly on the bottom. But the bottom needs to be more or less firm. Many people have written to me saying, look, are you fooling people? In the sense that I always emphasize in every one of my videos that the bottom must be firm, a firm bottom. People write to me saying they have a pond where the silt is knee-deep and there are lots of crayfish there. I have a question. If the silt is truly knee-deep, where will the crayfish dig burrows and live in the silt? I'm telling you, crayfish don't live in silt. Crayfish don't live in silt, got it? They neither live nor build burrows there. So if you, let's say, find a crayfish somewhere where there's silt, it can only mean two things. That not all of the bottom of this body of water is covered with silt, and that there is some part with a hard bottom. Right? Or a very large reed area, where it can build burrows in the roots. I mean build burrows, not crayfish, in the roots. Generally in the algae there are reeds, and there's such a thing as floating reeds. Under the floating reeds there are these kinds of places. So there are tangles of roots. In these tangles it can live. But it won't live in the mud. That's how it is, friends. Let's move on then. As for what I feed them, well, what do I feed them? I mainly feed them corn, beets and carrots. I boil them and scatter them around the pond. Why not something else? Because, for example, meat and similar foods greatly increase nitrites. Nitrites are a really bad thing, actually. How do you catch them in the fall and what do you use? Friends, I catch them in the fall exclusively with crayfish traps or by hand. It depends on the body of water. If it has a hard bottom, without roots, without anything, just clean, you can use a drag net to catch them, well, to catch them. What do I do next? I catch crayfish at the end of November. When they're still more or less not hibernating yet, you can catch them, because after that you can't catch them at all. And I transfer them, let's say, some to fish shelves, and some just to enclosures in the same bodies of water. And there they wait, so to speak, for their new owner until the end. Through December. God, I forgot how to say December. December and January. So, roughly speaking, I prepare them for 2 months, so I have them. That's 2 months of crayfish, December and January. As of today, I see the solution to the situation only in this way. Fortunately, we still have many bodies of water. Open ones, suitable for breeding crayfish. I don't see any problem with this, regarding what people say. You can raise crayfish in barrels, a cellar, a shed, or elsewhere. Well, friends, look, these aren't pigs, these aren't some rabbits that you can raise in a pen. No, they need wild conditions. So, if it's a commercial body of water, then let's say in your plan are the crayfish farmed. For me, crayfish farming is this. I mean, when they are simply raised in a commercial body of water, not in the wild, but in a commercial one. That's what I mean by farmed crayfish. But most people just mean it simply. Like, I don't know, some crayfish that were raised with chemicals somewhere in barrels or in some kind of chambers or in some strange containers. No, that's not the case. Because crayfish need, let's say, a proper environment. That is where it will reproduce so that it feels, as they say, at home, then it will molt properly, grow accordingly, and so on. Another common question is, how long does it take for a crayfish to grow? Friends, look, well, I'll say this. I always start with a sexually mature crayfish that weighs on average about 30 to 35 grams. How long does it grow? Look, to grow up to 50 grams. It takes at least 2 years for that to happen, to start earning anything. After you start the first, let's say, the first batch, it takes at least 3 years. Because less than 3 years actually, well, you won't earn anything. You need 3 years to pass, but after 3 years you will already have something. It's just that many people don't understand, friends. Look, what's even the point of releasing sexually mature crayfish? Because you release them in the spring or in the fall, either in the spring or in the fall. If it's in the fall, the roe is forming in the ovary, and if it's in the spring, it's already under the tail. Well, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. When you release them, you're not just releasing crayfish, you're basically releasing crayfish with other crayfish. Releasing one crayfish will result in 5 crayfish. So 5 right away. So roughly speaking, you release one, that's 5 crayfish. One will be this big, but 5 will be much bigger. So these 5 will then grow and grow. So you'll already have, let's say, a normal one. After 3 years, the result comes. And so the cycle will repeat over and over. These ones will keep giving offspring. That is a new generation, a new one. In about 3 years, roughly speaking, you get 3 generations, 1, 2, 3. Well, you get at least 3 generations of crayfish. So if you have, like I said, ponds, if you have the desire, money and everything else, then basically you can get into this business as a good opportunity. It's much better than fish or something similar. I mean, for example, I don't know a single fish farm that would bring in more profit, let's say, than raising crayfish. Because these things are just not comparable at all. I mean, yes, you can raise fish in a season and sell them, but considering its low price and a bunch of different pitfalls, well, it just doesn't compare. Well, it's so-so. Well, in my opinion, that's just my personal view. Friends, I'm giving you this free advice. In my opinion, it's priceless because back in my day, I lost quite a bit of money when I didn't know. Well, that's how it is actually. The growth process in the new ponds. Listen to me carefully. When I dug one of the ponds, it settled there for a couple of days and I released crayfish into it. When I released them, I hoped that they would quickly settle in and start breeding fast. Because the bottom is clay, the water warms up well, so they will molt often, at least 5 cycles a year. Because when does a crayfish grow? A crayfish grows when it molts. When does it molt? When the water temperature is high, that is above 20 degrees, yes, that's right. And then let's say the longer the warmth lasts. If the water stays at 30 degrees for over 6 months, it will molt and grow 5 times a year. Next. When you dig a new pond or excavate, Just clear it out. You need to make sure that the pond develops its own fauna. It usually appears about a month after you've dug a new pond. Because if you immediately introduce them into a dead environment, then your crayfish will die. And you'll end up losing money. That's a free piece of advice for you then. Put simply, use it. If you are, let's say, representatives of a business, or you just have your own ponds and want to breed crayfish, I'll give you my contacts. I leave my contacts in the description under each video. Basically, my contacts are under every video. So get in touch with me. Basically, we can be useful to each other. If you really have the intention, some serious task that needs to be solved, I can help you with that. Friends, write in the comments if you want more videos about crayfish and specify exactly which topic interests you. And so I understand, because you know, there are so many thoughts in my head. What exactly should I tell you? Well, I never prepare. I don't write out any scripts in advance. What I think is what I say, however it comes out. I usually record in 1 or 2 takes, and that's it. If you have questions, leave them in the comments and I'll answer. Well, I'll reply to you in the comments. If there are any broader, more complex questions, I can make a separate video about them, to discuss a certain topic and talk about it together with you. All contacts are in the description. Subscribe to the channel. And also, the most important thing is the bell. Click on the bell and select all notifications. All notifications. Because many people don't receive notifications about my new videos, and I still want people to watch me, especially my subscribers, so you get these notifications when I release a new video. That's all. Hugs to all. Glory to Ukraine. Take care and see you next time.